Alright, so domestic violence. Let's get into at least one part of the multi-parts that I have to share. Um, so the first part I'm going to share is, it hits really, really close to home. This was my first partner related incident, or not incident, but situation or relationship with someone that it became an intimate and apparent situation that was pretty dire. So the relationship started off pretty red flagged. I didn't see it. I didn't know it was my first serious relationship, and I look back on it and I'm like, man, if I had known now, then it would have been a way different situation and story. But that's just a chapter in my journey, chapter in my story. So the red flags had started with the fact that I started doing online dating with this guy. I met him online, drove the 2 hours to Lancaster to meet him. I was 16 at the time, and I had asked my parent, who I was living with at the time, how far away is Lancaster? Is it really 2 hours? And he confirmed it, and I was like, okay. So back then, all we had was MapQuest. There was no GPS or anything fun like that. So I drove my way down to Lancaster, met this individual, took one of my friends in tow, bribed her with coffee, so that way I wasn't, like, getting myself into a real serious situation by myself. I was thinking a little bit ahead on that. So I met this guy, and him and I clicked, and we started, like, doing our full scale, like, dating, like, actually became an official couple and that sort of thing. At first, I was okay with everything because I didn't see anything. Like, I was getting love bombed. If you don't know what that is, it's when someone is treating you really well and they are going above and beyond, and they throw out the fact of I love you real quick and all this sort of thing. Like, it's pretty much like fairy tale style, and it's the build up. It's the build up before the breakdown. At this point in time, I had no idea what the heck that was. So went through that whole situation. Was given a promise ring and was treated really well from what I saw. But the issue herein lies the fact that behind closed doors, when I was being suspected, or like being suspected of being trustless, or I was being out too much with my friends, or I was being seen as like I was spending too much time with my family, or just being a normal teenager at that point in time. Like, God forbid I be a teenager and I go out and enjoy things with my friends and enjoy other stuff, because this relationship was already long distance. Like, so I saw my friends, but I had to include this individual in, like, literally everything. Wasn't allowed to go do stuff by myself. Wasn't allowed to talk with my friends by myself. It had to be known of, like, what was happening all times. Essentially, I was being tracked without being tracked. Like, you have to remember, this was years ago, like a decade plus ago. So decided, okay, well, I really like this guy, and so on and so forth. So I was given this ultimatum to move down to Lancaster or end the relationship. And when you're young and you don't know any better, you're like, oh God, what if I'm alone for the rest of my life? What if this is like my true love? This is my person. Like, what if? So your head's not on straight, and you sit there and you talk with your dad and you explain to him, like, this is what has to happen, because I don't want to lose this person. And against better judgment, you do. So packed up my car and moved 2 hours away to Lancaster to be with this individual who I already had, like, not the greatest feelings about gut-wise. Like, I saw the red flags, but I didn't know that they were red flags. And I'm pretty sure that broke my dad's heart a little bit. Just the fact that, like, I was stubborn and very strong-willed and just had to make life choices on my own. That's kind of how you learn. You can't force people to do things and expect a good outcome without rebellion. So I went out and about on my own, moved down to Lancaster, moved in with this partner and his family. It was rough. Found myself a job, got myself re-enrolled into high school because I was a senior in high school at the time. And yeah, it was bad. Shortly after I had started working, I thought I came down with the flu. Went and arranged for a doctor's visit within the area and found out I was pregnant. Came home and told my partner about it, and I was given yet another ultimatum. That one was a little bit more harsh. I was told to either get rid of my kid or leave. And so I really didn't know what to do. The parents of this partner found out that I was pregnant, and there was refusal to put me on the street, which thank goodness for that at that point in time. But so was working and trying to finish school and was feeling miserable. Like, that was the first time I was in a weird spot in life where I didn't know what to do, and I felt hated. I felt belittled. It was bad. I felt like I was just trash. I was scared too, like really scared, and I was told that I was worthless and it was my fault, and that everything was my fault, and that I wasn't worth anything. There were a few times before I found out I was pregnant that I was made to feel like absolute garbage. Like, I was told that I'm the reason why things happen and so forth. It sucks. It really sucks to be made to feel like that. So that is where your mental and emotional abuse starts to set in. Red flags, like, all over the place, and I was stuck. At that point, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, who to call. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell my dad. It was hard. I didn't want to tell my friends. And so I went about things for months, up until it really started to show that I was pregnant. And thankfully I had supportive family. They were hours away, and I was kept from them because there was a lot of jealousy and envy and that sort of thing. So even when I went to visit them, it was hard on me because I was made to feel like crap because I wanted to go see family. Because I wanted to go see friends, or if friends came, I was made to feel like crap because I was taking time away from that individual. Again, gaslighting. So graduated high school. I had been looking to enroll in culinary school, and I was still set on doing those goals, whether I had my child and all that, or what was going to be like moving forward from there. That was my goal. So graduated high school. A month later, I had my daughter, and then I had put going into culinary school off for 6 months. Waited those 6 months, raised my child, worked, and then put myself into culinary school. Again, I was made to feel like absolute trash because I was being selfish, because I wanted to better myself and give a better life to those who involved themselves in my life. I was looking out to do the best I could in the situation I was given. I was definitely living fight or flight mode. And no, that sucks. Like, looking back on that stuff, it's hard to realize that, like, you are constantly living in fight or flight mode. So, enrolled in culinary school, went to culinary school, graduated culinary school, and was working in a culinary field, found a pretty good job, and worked in the field for a couple of years, switched jobs, found a really good job. And at that time, I was the only one working because it was hard for my partner to stay within jobs. So trying to work and raise my child, and then it gets really weird. I have a cell phone, and I wasn't allowed to have that cell phone on my person. I was kind of refrained from using it, and I found out later why. Apparently because I was working too much and I was too busy with my child, that my partner at the time had took it upon himself to entertain himself with another female. And this female was much younger than the two of us. We were in our early 20s at the time. And I come to find out that it was my fault for working too much and for focusing on building a life and career and raising a child, that I was the root of this problem and caused this to happen in the relationship. It sucked. I only found this out after I had gotten into a fight with my partner at the time, and it was so emotionally damaging that I didn't want to be at home anymore. So I went and stayed with some friends because I needed to work the following day. And I needed to clear my head and just get things like out. So it's hard to think about this sometimes. But so during that time, while I was at my friend's and then went to work, I found out that this female had come over to my apartment that I was living in at the time, and had engaged in activities with my partner. And when questioned about it, I was told I was being dumb and that it was my fault. And again, the gaslighting. It was like an inferno at that point. Like, it was horrible. And so I tried to move forward from that. I tried to forgive. I couldn't forget. That was where I stood, is I forgave, but I couldn't forget. So moved forward, essentially said that this is like your only second chance ever. And moved out of the apartment, found a house that I really wanted to buy, put the house into my name, which again, there was a lot of harsh feelings put towards me on that one. I was made to feel like garbage because my trust was broken. Like, it was super broken. And what am I supposed to do at that point in time? So the house was put in my name, purchased the house. We all moved into the house, and it was rough because I was made to feel like crap again. I was belittled. I was told that, again, it's my fault, and that, like, I'm selfish, and that how did I really expect anything further to be progressed because of everything. So I took that on the chin, and I dealt with it. I quietly mourned that. I quietly, like, focused on the fact that maybe I am a crappy person. Maybe I'm, like, the problem. And I started to believe it. I started to believe I was the problem. With all this crap happening, I started to believe that I was the issue. So fast forward, and the verbal got worse. The mental got worse. There started to become holes in the walls. There started to become holes in the doors. There started to become broken items in the house. It was rough. Like, you're having to sit there and replace things because you're like, I can't have anything nice because it probably can get broken. It probably will get damaged. It's gonna be my fault. Again, my fault, my fault, my fault. That's how I lived. I felt everything was my fault. I lost myself. I was in shambles. Like, how can you have confidence when you feel like everything is your fault, or you feel like garbage because you can't do anything right, because you can't please this person in a way that they expect you to be, like, eating and, like, helping and just being, like, they're like, everything, but you're nothing to them. So, after about 7 years of that, I was ready to just call it quits. I was done. I was over it. So I threw that card out there and I was like, listen, I'm done. I don't want anymore. I can't do this anymore. And I was told no. And I was given, again, the ultimatum of a marriage proposal. So, yeah. That was the thing, is like, I felt like if nothing was going to change, nothing was going to change. So, the marriage proposal of sorts happened. Essentially, I sound ungrateful, but I truly am not. A ring was given, and that was where things settled. Then the marriage happened shortly after, and then it got worse. Oh, it got worse. My second child was born not further after that, and then again, I was made to feel like crap. To this day, like, eyes who have seen from the outside looking in have told me it was hard to watch everything. So again, second child was born, and then things got worse. They always get worse with that type of thing. The longer you stick around, the longer things are going to progress into a pretty rough situation. So I remember, again, there was an argument and I didn't want to be home. So I stayed away from home for a night and went to work the next day, and it was Mother's Day. So went into work, opened up because I was the opener. It was a holiday. And I get met with this text message of, it's your job or your kids. So I freak out. And I call my managers. I was a manager at the time. I called managers. I'm like, I need to go home. I need to figure this out. Like, I just need to go get my kids. That was the most, like, utterly important thing ever. So they arrive, or they just tell me to, like, they arrive at the conclusion, I should say, to have me run home and take care of business and then come back, which I was fine with. So I ran home. I come home, I call for my daughters at the top of the steps, and I'm met with a pretty angry individual. This individual grabs me, throws me on the couch, and proceeds to put both hands around my throat. I start to black out, and I can feel the life, like, just leaving me. It was hard. It was really hard to, like, to realize that was almost the end. And a set of little eyes were watching as well. That was even harder, to know that was happening in front of a person who shouldn't have seen that. So then I remember squirming and thrashing and trying to fight my way out of that hold, and I could see the anger in his eyes, and I could feel the life leaving mine. I could feel my breath getting shallow. I could feel my body start to limpen up. I could feel, like, my breaths were getting very, like, just short. It's a weird feeling to explain, but I was able to escape after thrashing for a little bit, and rolled off the couch, ran to my neighbor's house, and they had proceeded to call the police after they allowed me in the house and saw what was happening, and I explained what happened. A PFA was issued, and that was about as far as things went, because from how it's explained to me, you have to have a lot of physical evidence, and you have to have a lot of, how do I put it? Jeez. There has to be a lot of just physicality that happens, and there has to be like witnesses who are going to be relevant and that sort of thing for anything to proceed. So my witness, it was irrelevant according to them, and the marks that were on my neck were just, they weren't evidence enough. So a PFA was the closest that they could issue for my safety. It's hard to talk about this sometimes, and mind you, I've been through a couple other incidences aside from this, so it sucks. And what I know now is something I wish I had known back then, but you kind of have to live and learn through this stuff, and I hope my experiences help others to realize that it's okay to speak up. That might save your life. It might change things for a way different purpose than what you've been expecting. And you are enough. You are able to fight this. You are able to overcome this. But don't let it be the thing that ends you. You are able to escape, even if it's scary. I've been raising 2 children as a single mom for years now. It's not easy, but it's been worth it. And it's rough at times, but I assure you, your life is worth more than you think. It's worth more than trying to save that relationship. It's worth more than the love bombing and the gaslighting. You're worth it. I assure you.